So here's a chart. Voila. Now, that's it. Everybody can go home now. Show's over. Nah, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, everybody calm down. Everyone stop freaking out. So here we are. This is LK Coffee. This is their chart. This is the daily chart. So this is looking at how the stock is traded over the course of a year. And each candle represents one full trading day or one full trading session. Okay, so if we look at it, what we know is this little blue and red circle. If you ever look at that on your TD Ameritrade chart, don't know what it is. It's the that signifies that there's been an earnings call and earnings report, release. It's basically the company saying, hey, this is how well we did for the last quarter, right? So they're coming out and telling investors just how well the company has been doing. So what we notice is it goes through a strong move, pulls back, goes on another strong move. So for one, what this is telling us is that this had a really strong earnings report. It kind of came back for 2 days. Everyone's like, oh, nope, it's still a buy. Then we buy it all the way back up. And at this point, the stock kind of reaches a high, right? We get pretty high here. And investors start to say to themselves, well, should we keep buying or should we sell? So you're kind of seeing this back and forth rally and this back and forth consolidation. But what we notice about it is it's U-shaping up, for one. Look at this green day here. That's a very bullish green day, right? We pull back, spike up, very bearish day down, 3 green days up, big bearish day down. Next day, very bullish day up. So again, it's really interesting when you see this extremely bearish move down, just for the next day to be an extremely bullish move right back up, right? So this is telling you for sure that there's buyers in here willing to buy this up even after this big move has happened. So what we're looking for is a breakout on LK over this 35.58 mark or this high top here. All right, now we believe that it's either going to be happening tomorrow, Friday, or next week. If it's going to work, I'd be surprised if it does it next week. As in, with how close we are to the top here on Luckin Coffee or LK, I'd be very surprised if it's not either tomorrow that it breaks out or Friday. Okay, and then it's kind of moving higher into next week. If it doesn't break out by today or tomorrow, we'll see how it's trading. Maybe we'll do an updated video, but I believe at that point, depending on what it looks, we might not break out. Okay, so let's look at it on a 4-hour chart. So this is a 4-hour chart. Now each candle here represents 4 hours of trading. So you'll see that there is 1, 2, and then it's all night, 1, 2. So there's 2 candles, 2 4-hour candles per 1 day. So if we look at this now, we kind of zoom in, right? We could see the daily chart. Now we're zooming in a little bit and taking a look at what the chart's offering now. What we see is sort of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish move. Again, this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. It forms like this, and the objective of it is it does this, and it goes up, and then it goes like that. Now, this is very right angular and very pointy, so this is more rounded in here, but if I were to draw it to a point, it would look like this. And then we kind of come down here, and now we're going back up. So the objective is to see this price action get up and over, and then we go on a nice move. So again, a lot of times in the market, the patterns aren't always going to be picture perfect like you see it on Google, and it might take you a little bit of time and practice to eventually get to a level where you can actually recognize them when they're not picture perfect, kind of like this one here. Again, this is more rounded. Okay, and so we're looking for this to give us a nice breaking out move. So for one, we have the inverse head and shoulders pattern there. 2, many other traders would be watching this in the form of a pennant, which is not wrong, but also within that bullish pennant, you have the inverse head and shoulders formation. That is a very common scenario that you will see in the market, a pennant, and with inside the pennant, you'll have the bullish inverse head and shoulder formation occurring as well. That is something very common that we do see. Now let's talk about the volume real quick. So if we look at some of this volume, right? Well, again, this isn't always the perfect way of looking at things, but it can help you give you more confidence, right? So if we look at here, we have these two extremely strong bullish days where the market just rips on LK, just squeezes up. We have not broken those volume levels on a red volume, as in since these big green volumes, we haven't had a red day to have more volume than that and beat them out, which essentially is a good sign. It doesn't mean that the stock won't come down, but it's something to note, right? Then we pull back here, and again, we have these really strong volume days, which again, we haven't had any red days go over that volume level yet, which again is a good thing to notate. Then we kind of pull back a little bit and we kind of now we're just going through consolidation, right? This is just consolidation. Here, though, is where we do kind of get a change, right? You can see we're kind of just going through consolidation as the stock's doing this. And then we have this big red day here. Now, we tell ourselves, when there's a big volume spike like that, we could be looking at a potential sell-off. But we also want to notate why that happened. And does it make sense for it to happen the way it happened? If it doesn't, then maybe we should be nervous of a potential sell-off as we don't understand what's going on. So in my mind, and in yours now too, you will come to find that the reason we have this big red selling candle day, which was this day here if I circle it, the reason we have that is because this was the all-time high here for LK, and that was the first day to go all the way back up to that all-time high level and test that level. So if any investor within the market or trader that likes to bet to the downside on stocks, as in making money if things drop, if any investor or trader truly felt that that was at least the short-term top or the top for the stock, they would all start to sell at that spot. Also, if any investor for LK, maybe let's say a beginner trader, someone who really doesn't know what they're doing, or just someone who got unlucky, bought the top here and then had to hold through all of this pain of watching their investment go red, as soon as it got back to that high and they were no longer red, they were probably just like, oh, that feels so good just to be back to break even or a small loss or maybe even a small green. So that is primarily the reason for seeing such a strong sell volume bar and candle day at that time. And that's because this was the first day to retest the all-time high. So if you had any bag holders, right, you got a little, I like to call them baggies, like a caddy holding the bag all the time, right? If you got any of those baggies up there that bought here, as soon as they get back to break even, they're selling out, right? A lot of times that will happen. And then if anybody thought the stock should go down from that point, they would all get short, in which they still would have made money on that day if because it went down, right? Or if anybody just thought that this was a level that the stock was worth and they're all going to sell. So this was the first attempt which could lead to a double top formation. Well, there's a good chance we're not double topping because we already tried. See, look at, ready? If I draw it out, there's a good chance this isn't a double top because we've already seen the stock go up to there, top, come down. Excuse me, I did a little burp there. And now we're coming back up, right? So the likelihood that it's a double top is pretty unlikely. And then what we also know is look at how strong this selling day was. All right, look at the top wick. And then look at the candle again. Look at the volume, how big the volume bar is. And maybe I'll drag this up so it's a little bit bigger. So look at how strong that volume bar is again. And then look at the sell candle, pretty aggressive. But look what happens kind of following that. So if that was a really aggressive day and a really scary day and it had a lot of selling volume, you would think that investors might start fleeing the other way. And they aren't. They're actually charging full force at the top with more buying volume trending up. And if we lead to a breakout, you can be sure as shit you're going to see a volume bar like this. And that's what's going to push us into that all-time high there for LK. And again, when I say look at the volume bar and how strong it is, if you're a newer trader, you might be looking at it and go, what does he mean? How is it strong? I don't see what he's saying. And the more you trade the more you're going to pick up on these things. So if you're not catching it right now, don't beat yourself up. I mean, this takes a long time to learn this game. So again, when I'm looking at that volume bar and I go, wow, this is showing a lot of strength, it's just really in comparison to the previous trading candles. Like if we look at this day here, that's green. Let me change that to yellow. If we look at that volume bar compared to that one, you can see it's far bigger, right? If we look at these volume bars compared to these ones, we know that it's far bigger, right? And then for one, just in general, look at the volume, right? And then boom. Just because it spiked in volume there doesn't mean the stock has to trend up for, 2 years or it's going to go up for forever. But if you think logically and you simplify the matter of trading and stop always trying to go, well, is it going to go up? It could go down. It might do this. It might do that. Just think logically about it. And what this volume push here is telling you, for one, is that, people are looking at it. Boom. A lot of people are now interested in this stock. Who cares it's good to know the reason, but at the end of the day, whether it's because they have the world's best coffee, whether it's because they opened up 100 new stores, whether it's because they're making a bunch of money, at the end of the day, all of a sudden, a bunch of people now want that stock and are buying that stock and are looking at that stock is what that means, okay? A lot of you will probably be able to relate to this. I think over the course of 2019, or maybe it was 2018, or maybe it was this summer. Honestly, I don't even know. But a lot of you guys can relate to this. The Lil Nas Old Town Road song. Lil Nas really wasn't anybody. And then all of a sudden he makes this country rap song and he is automatically famous. Everybody knows about him. Everybody's listening to his song. So you can think about this volume down here, or you can think about LK stock as the rapper Lil Nas. Not that he's no one. I'm sure he's a really great guy, great family, probably, plan on having a lot of nice kids, all sorts. He's probably a really fantastic rapper. And then he made this great song called Old Town Road, and all of a sudden, bam, everybody knows about him and everybody's talking about him, right? That's something to pay attention to. That's a potential new trend setting. And what we're seeing is this stock channeling up. And again, if we get that breakout, boom. And I don't have to tell you guys that have been trading for quite a while, what kind of hype, momentum, and power can sometimes be behind these new IPO'd stocks on the market or new fresh meat on the market like Beyond Meat, right? So we know that these things have potential to have some really nice runs. So regardless, enough spieling for you guys. I believe we could be seeing a breakout over 33.58, and we're probably going to be seeing LK up to prices of at least, I would say, $35 to $40. I think there's a potential for a $10 jump here. I think as soon as we break out, we're hitting 35s, which isn't very big. And then I think we have the potential to even hit the 40s within a week if, again, we get the breakout that it looks like could happen. So, again, we're judging some volatility based on a setup. There's no guarantee, but we'll follow it, we'll trade it, and we'll update it for you guys here on the channel. So thank you once again for tuning in. Feel free to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any other videos, and we'll make sure to update you guys on LK here as need be. So everybody take care, have a great night, and I'll see you on the next one.